Is a full application with the Pilot brush, this 4-in-1 brush that many of you snagged. Let's get ready. I'm going to show you 2 applications because you can use this brush multiple ways. So if you like a lot of precision, start with the more dense small end and you can apply your 3D application with this end. Okay, so this is contour right under that cheekbone from the top of the ear towards the corner of the nose, right along that jawline, just defining that shadow. Really great for under the lip. And really nice for nose contour because it's nice and thin. So we're going for 2 lines on the front of the nose with a little gap in between. If your gap gets a little bit closed in, clean off your brush and then just slide it down the middle. Now I will say if you're using this end as much as I'm going to use it, the brush cleaning tile would be a really good addition. Okay, then we're going to go into the brightening highlight. We can easily put that on with this end, come right down the middle of your face. So we're brightening down the center of our face to add dimension. And I also like to add a little on the outer corner of my eye, pulling up, okay? Now, another thing that this little end of this brush is great for is color correcting. So I can go into 03 or Y1, Y01, whatever you have, depending on if we talked about your blemishes and what you're trying to color correct. But this is great for under eyes. Okay, so this is 03. That I'm using right now, for example, and then you could tap it out with your finger or with the other end of the brush. Then I can still finish my application with this end. I'm going into my main foundation shade and just dabbing a little bit of that everywhere that I don't already have product, especially these pesky blemishes, okay? There we go. Now, another way to use the Pilot brush for your application is to apply with the pointy end. So you can pick up your contour with that. This is going to give you maybe a bit softer of a look and definitely a little bit less precision, but still really nice. I also often apply my contour with the round end. Like I love this for my cheek when I just want to get some on there and, you know, nothing too crazy. So you literally can use either end for your application like this. Now for under the lip and the stuff around the nose, I do like the smaller brush or your finger, but then you can finish applying foundation everywhere you don't already have product with either ends as well. And I can brighten that outer corner. This is my brightening highlight with this brush. Okay, so that's 2 different ways to apply with one brush. Now I'm going to take off my excess product on the brush cleaning tile. If you don't have that, what I honestly do is wipe it on the back of my hand and then I just wash my hands after. And then I'm going to do most of the blending with the round end. Sometimes it's nice to blend around the eyes with the pointy end. But whatever you're using, I'm just tapping the product in. I'm not swiping it all over the place. The little bit that's on my brush, I'll run over my eye. And then I'm just tapping in with the pointy end. And once I'm done the eye area, I generally flip around to the round end, but same principle. I kind of avoid the contour at first and just tap the other 2 colors in until they're nicely blended in with my skin. And then I'll start blending the contour. For the nose, I just go in and out, or you can go into like your smaller end and blend those lines up and down with the smaller fluffy end. Blending that all in, coming to life. The jawline contour, I'm not afraid to bring that down onto my neck a little bit.
Because our neck is often lighter than our face, this helps blend the color together. I apologize for the voiceover, but my voice no longer lined up with the video, so you're getting a voiceover instead. When it comes to the cheek contour, as you can see, I'm just tapping that into place until I'm happy with the coverage. And if I'm going to drag it anywhere, I'm going to drag it up. The cheek contour is like a push-up bra for our cheeks. We want to keep it nice and high. When it comes to the hairline contour, I do blend that right into my hair because we're mimicking a shadow on the forehead. So we don't want a light color behind the contour. We want to take it right to the hairline. Same blending technique on the other side. You can see that it doesn't really matter how I put it on. I will blend it out the same way. Sticking with the round end of the brush, I picked up a little bit of lip and cheek. In this case, I'm using a gloss lip and cheek called La Cienega and literally just applying it on my cheeks for as much color as you would like. And then I'm going into bronzer with the same end of the brush. Now, whether you apply bronzer first or blush first or bronzer at all is totally personal preference. I usually do bronzer under blush because I like to see the blush more. But if you like an understated blush and you like that warm glow from the bronzer, feel free to apply the bronzer bronzer on top. I applied the bronzer on the high points of my forehead and cheekbones, a little on my nose and down onto my neck, and then just blended it all together. Then going into eyeshadow, I'm using the fluffy end of the small Pilot brush to apply all over eyeshadows. I love this brush for that like all over soft look, and you only need a little bit of product when it comes to Seint eyeshadows. And I'm also using the fluffy end here to apply a darker color on the outer third of my eye and above the crease. So if you're going for something kind of soft and subtle, I would use the fluffy end like I am here, and just a very gentle hand and lots of blending, bringing that up above the crease as to not sink your crease any deeper. If you want something a bit more defined, you can do it with the smaller end of the eyeshadow brush like I'm doing here, and I actually form a V on the outer corner of my eye. And I use this brush to kind of use eyeshadow in place of eyeliner by running it along the lash line as well. And I do the same technique on the lower lash line when I want to use eyeshadow in place of eyeliner as well. Again, cleaning that brush in between colors, I'm going into a light shimmer. And if you want your shimmer to be more pigmented and more shimmery, use the small end of the brush because it is more dense. And if you want it to be really subtle, use the fluffy end of the brush because it'll do a lighter application. But all around, as you can see, I'm doing my whole face with this one Pilot brush. Now I'm going in and applying illuminator with the pointier end of the bigger brush. Illuminator being that highlighter on my cheekbones to add a little bit of extra dewy glow, but you could do this with the round end as well. Now I noticed on the outer corner of my eyeshadow I went a little bit lower than I wanted to. So here I'm picking up my brightening highlight and using the dense end of the small brush, as you can see, to clean up that outer corner. This is such an easy technique that will lift the outer corners of your eyes and just clean up those edges beautifully. I'm just blending it out with the soft end of the brush to just really make your eye look crisp and defined. You can even apply your lip gloss with the dense end of the brush, and seriously, the versatility, as you can see, is amazing. I hope this is helpful.